Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This week has been a pretty rough one. I started work on the Toerail, but then the rains came, so we ended up with almost an entire week with rain. So I opted not to continue work on the Toerail because, you know, once that's been removed, we have to glass everything and seal it all off, and you can't do that while the rain is falling on your head. But we did do a couple of small jobs. It's a gloomy Monday morning, and even the seals seem to be lazy today. There's a bit of wind coming, and there's some rain forecast coming soon. But let's see what we can find to do this week. I don't think it's going to be a very productive week because it's supposed to be 3-4 days of this and then a video is due out, so I think it's going to be a mixed bag of very strange things. Maybe some cleaning because it's getting really messy up here. Well, I should clean up and pack away up here and then maybe downstairs. There's also the sort of fire damaged tools that have just been sitting here, and I've been dying to get these things cleaned because they're okay, they can be reused. I just need time to sit and scrub them all and clean them, and some of them put in vinegar because they got some rust on. I get the feeling that's what this week is going to be like. What I can do, however, is start painting on this side here. So this is under the electrical cabinet section, and I've been dying to get the first coat of top coat on here, as well as on the seating area on the nav station. So I thought I'd quickly mix up some paint and put a coat on there and then go home. So Robert in the comments last week's video mentioned that what am I going to do with the deck when we're actually ready to do it. And here's some examples of some of my neighbors' boats of what I'm going for, and we will kind of get into more details soon. Then of course we have Mistress. Now Mistress is a combination of the sand bits as well as Interdeck, which is an international yachting product, which isn't actually that good unless you're wearing deck shoes. Otherwise there's no point using Interdeck. I still find it incredibly slippery. But this works incredibly well, especially when it's wet. So we've been out to sea and it holds really, really, really well. I don't slip at all. Then on Argus, here at the back, the transom, it's the same thing. So it's the sand sprinkled on here. This is a touch-up because still needs another coat of paint. But this is the idea at any rate. And on the deck, exactly the same thing. There are at least another 5 or 6 other boats out here that use the same method by sprinkling a fine sand over everything. The important thing here is that it's cost effective, it's cheap, it maybe doesn't look as good as a Kiwi grip or an all grip or those mats that you can buy, or faux teak that I've got on the seats of Mistress, for example. Those are all nicer looking options and they do the job, but they're insanely expensive here. You've got to import it, you order it online and it arrives and you pay duties on that, and it becomes insane. If you have to do an entire boat, this is a 48-foot boat, and I've got, of the surface area that I can work on, I've probably got about 85% has to have non-skid on it. It becomes very quickly unattainable. But that's why it's so common to see the sand and paint method on boats in marinas all over the coast here in South Africa, just because of the cost. It doesn't look as good, but it does a fantastic job. It really works really well. You also get little silica glass bead balls, silica type balls, and I just don't like those because after a while when they wear, the little top, if you imagine a sphere, the top half of it breaks off and you end up with these jagged edges which can hurt your feet and cut your feet, and that's not that great. Whereas sand sort of breaks, and over time you can always just overcoat it if you really need it, because you know, deck paint, you can get any number of 2-part epoxy deck paint and use that. I'm using Interguard for primer and International's or Asco Nobel's Interthane 990 as the top coat. That second one that you saw is exactly the same thing, and I've already mixed the color that I wanted. I think the fire destroyed a lot of our samples. I had some samples here from maybe a few videos back where I was trying to get the color and the pattern and try and figure out how we wanted to do the deck. It's something very, very light grey. I discovered that if you use sort of a standard light grey that you normally get, it's actually too hot to stand on. So I wanted a very reflective, very light grey. I've already got the sand, it's in the boot of the car. So that has to get decanted and sieved, even though they say that it's a particular washed silica sand and that it's a particular size. It never actually is. There's always dust in it, and it's the dust that you don't want on your paint. So what I'll do is I'll pre-sieve it and get the actual chunks that I want and decanter it into little glass jars, and then plan out a section at a time. And that's upcoming in probably the next 2 videos. I'll start on that, but there's some more sanding and painting on deck, and as you know, that's very much weather dependent. Speaking of weather dependent, this is now the second day of rain. I've just come on the boat to see if I can get anything done, and this is what I was greeted with. It doesn't leave me many options for things to do, so I've been doing a little bit of cleaning up and just organizing my tools. The sun's come out. Can you believe it? I'm hoping that it dries the deck and dries everything. I'm not going to get a chance to do any work because I've got to render this video for you guys now in order to post it so that you can watch it. So I'm not going to do anything more, and I'm going to end a very short, useless video for this week. I'm afraid I just didn't get anything done. So thank you so much for watching. There's a lot of work to be done still. So join in next week. I'll carry on with the Toerail work. I really hope we have a few days of this kind of weather so that I can put epoxy on and start glassing the deck. That's super important. And then I have to continue on downstairs, a little bit of engine work as well. I need to oil the gearbox and connect those hoses up. I found what I needed to do that, so I will do that soon. Thank you guys. Please like and subscribe, and I will chat with you next week. Bye bye.